All right. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Associated Guest. The Associated Guest. Oh my gosh, I'm off to a great start. I'm your host, as always, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. Today, we cover the story that I missed yesterday about Hasan Piker sicking his uncle Jink. How do you pronounce it? I've heard Chinkuger and I've heard Jankuger. Jankuger sounds a little less Stop Asian Haiti, but SweetBaby CEO admits they're trying to ruin video games. I haven't watched this video yet. I've been saving it for this because I want to catch it live with y'all. Are they doing it on purpose? My guess, yes. And then some people tried to defend Hasan over, yes, I know we're all tired of hearing about the dang dog collar. If he would just admit that, yes, he uses it sometimes, most people would leave him alone, except for PETA and then everyone else that just hates on him all the time anyway. I mean, he definitely deserves the hate, but not so much for the pet thing, more for the supporting any and all terrorists, but only as a grift. He doesn't actually care about any of these things. And then possibly if we have chance at the end, I doubt we'll have that much time. You know how long-winded I am. We'll get to Assassin's Creed bosses quitting, but we'll jump straight into the Young Turks video.
Desperate to cancel me. Of course, canceling me, as always. It's another day.
So Hasan's uncle, Cenk Uygur, who's a co-founder of the Young Turks, in which Hasan used to work on, to my understanding. Well,
they'll call him Chink Yogurt or Chunky Yogurt. I love it.
Had this really weird rant about AsmonGold recently, and it's filled with a lot of coke where he's trying to act like he doesn't know who AsmonGold is, despite the fact that this guy is completely in the realm of an industry where you would expect him to know who AsmonGold is, given that he's
I don't have an ego about that. People don't know who I am. That's fine. I don't even think about it. Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
Political commentator, and that Hasan himself constantly cries about AsmonGold. So you would just expect Cenk to probably know who Asmon is. It seems kind of like a lie, at least in my opinion. And then he does this impression of AsmonGold that's really just an impression of Alex Jones, and he's trying to act like AsmonGold sounds like Alex Jones or something. It's just a really, really weird clip. I'll play it for you. Let me know what you think.
Hey, if you're a Democrat and you're criticizing the right wing, now think about it if the shoe was on the other foot. Now this brother comes along. I don't know who Assman is. I mean, people say maybe that he's got a following.
The way he says it makes me think that he's saying S-Fand. Listen to it again.
Now this brother comes along. I don't know who Assman is.
Like, really? Like, I'm hearing S-Fand.
To me, it sounds like
people say maybe that he's got a following, but I've never heard of him, right?
Which sounds like an insult, but at the same time, it's just a preference.
And his co-conspirator Jägermeister or whatever, right? But this guy's talking about, oh yeah, run over protesters. I don't mind it, he said.
We watched this already.
So you don't mind extreme violence, running over somebody with a car, okay? But you know what? Why don't we instead arrest them for exercising one of the most fundamental American rights, freedom of speech? The one, remember, that you guys all pretended you were in favor of?
Yeah.
I know some of them meant it, but apparently a lot of them, including Assman and Jägermeister, didn't mean it.
Stop saying Assman.
They thought, oh, freedom of speech for me, to say that maybe you should be murdered or be made my slave. My freedom of speech, good. And by the way, I wouldn't cancel that. I don't like him saying that.
Okay, the running over protesters things is one thing, but AsmonGold, as far as I know, has never said anything about being made a slave. He's conflating running over random protesters, which, yes, he's right. Protesting is your First Amendment right. There's nothing wrong with protesting. But blocking off streets, blocking off highways especially, city roads, whatever, that's between you and the city. Okay? One, they should announce these things as the city, because a lot of these things, especially if you block streets, you're supposed to have some kind of permit, however you want to say it. But blocking highways, especially during the weekdays, people have to get to work. Okay, and not having to go to work and being able to go to these protests is a bit privilegey, just a little, but what AsmonGold was talking about, I remember the clip from that brought this forth. He was talking about when people are attacking you or attacking your car, run the fuckers over, 100%. Run them over, not randoms, not anything like that. But at the same time, yes, quote unquote random people could get hit if you're fleeing from attackers in a protest. But at the same time, as far as I'm concerned, unless you're actively trying to stop the people from attacking the car, you're complicit. That's right, I said it. You're complicit. If you're not actively trying to get people off these cars, I don't care what the person did, unless they pulled out a gun or started swinging on people first, not defending themselves, but but started swinging on people first, and then fled to their car like a coward, and then took off like that. Then yeah, attack the fucker. But if he's just there existing, and people from Antifa, which does exist, start attacking somebody just for being there, just for walking down the sidewalk, just for videotaping them, which you're allowed to do, especially in, the South. I don't know what we're talking about here, but let's continue and see what Chunky Yogurt has to say. I still have a lot of respect for Jink. I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I'm sorry for that. I've watched you for a long time, and I've heard people on your own show say both, but...
Terrible things that he says. Now we know who he is. So, and I'm not afraid of his speech. I'm not afraid that the majority of Americans are going to look at that and go, oh, yeah, well, I think we should, instead of having freedom of speech, if anyone exercises freedom of speech...
It really feels like he just did some cocaine or some smelling salt or something. He's really amped up about this. Like, he's going 1,000 miles an hour.
In a way that I don't like politically. We should arrest them, take away all their rights, make sure they can't vote, and then turn them into slaves.
To me, this guy really comes off like he wrote down 100 terrible points and then like chugged a few Red Bulls and was like, "How many?"
Just went down them, bro. He speed ran it, didn't he?
Yeah.
These terrible points can I get through in like a 1 minute clip? And then here
I don't
comes
know.
Jones impression.
No,
probably what he was doing before he clipped this.
8% of Americans are going to be against that. But Asman thinks that's a great idea. Yeah. So he's like, oh, yeah, I'm for freedom of speech, unless it's left-wingers. How dare they protest our government?
No, this is not sped up. This is the actual speed that Jink talks sometimes. I still watch TYT from time to time. But I can't because, look, Jink was one of the first people to be like, hey, let's try to work with MAGA when they won. And when Charlie Kirk was murdered, he was one of the first people to come out and say, this is wrong. It's not who we are. But then at the same time, he'll say shit like this and get people all hyped up against, little goofy cockroach kings like this fella.
Let's take away all the...
I'm sorry, man. I heard someone refer to you as Beetlejuice, and I think it's hilarious, but I think you would think it's hilarious too, so I don't mind saying it. No disrespect to Asman. To Asman.
Rights. Did you see what he said?
As I've said, this is an unprecedented level of buffoonery.
It really is.
These are levels of buffoonery that I didn't even know were possible before.
And I wish I could say that it was before I heard that if he was in charge, he would make it to where you're allowed to have sex with animals, but only when they're receiving the pleasure end of it. This isn't a thing he actually said. I don't know, and maybe it'll be in this, but I'll pull it up on the show sometime. Just remind me. But yeah. And I lost respect for him before that, and then I saw that and saw the look on Anna Kasparian's face, which is his co-host.
This is a level 100 buffoon. It is.
Make sure they can't ever vote again. And I don't know if his followers were like, what an idiot. We said freedom of speech, dumbass. Okay? Or if they're like, yeah, we hate freedom of speech now that we're in charge. Let's turn them into slaves. Are 13
literally nobody said this.
Who would like that kind of?
I mean, there may be a couple
monstrously
weirdos with like 6 followers
like that who doesn't believe in America at all.
I mean, I don't consume content like this. I can't imagine that AsmonGold, whatever his name is, I can't imagine that he is watching this show right now either.
I always find it so trashy.
I wish I could see more of it.
Look, if you don't know, I'd very much doubt that they even watched the clip that they're referring to. It was probably told to them by an intern or by someone who works for them or by some family member or some friend, and nobody even watched it. They just watched someone talk about it. It's absolutely unreal. It's like I wish I could have remembered what the video was, but yesterday I was listening to something and it was someone trying to debunk something, but they wouldn't debunk it. They would just play a part of the video and laugh like stupid giggling stoners.
People try to insult Asman by like intentionally butchering his name with the most grade school level insults you could possibly imagine. And to me, when people...
I don't even think about that. To me, like, I'm going to be real. I don't
Be
even
real,
give the
son.
people enough credit that I think that they're doing it on purpose. I just assume that they don't know how to say it. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you don't know how to say it? Yeah, it's probably true.
Do that, it doesn't make Asmon look bad. It actually makes them look bad.
It really
Anyways, here's part of Asmon's
Yeah.
response.
This guy's talking about, oh yeah, run over protesters. I don't mind it, he said.
Yes.
So you don't mind extreme violence
is-
running
I'm
over
gonna
somebody with a
move
car,
ahead.
okay?
Well, yeah, if they block your road, yeah, absolutely. If they don't let you try to get by and they crowd your car, I think you absolutely should be able to run them over.
Yeah.
And you can see how, and this is what I think is very funny about
This isn't even a bad take.
this, is that people like this always like misrepresenting. This is why I don't debate with people. It's because they're just liars. Like, you can't debate and argue and, you know, have a conversation with a person whenever
watching
they're not
himself react to the
operating
same
on the
video?
same wavelength as you are. So when you have
This is
somebody like Jake who's
Reactception.
saying like, oh, well, you know, you're just trying to run over protesters, etc., you're not even trying to engage with the conversation.
Yeah.
You're not even trying to understand the point of view that I'm putting forward. You're intentionally misunderstanding it in order to make an argument, which is like, that's fine. You want to do that, go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm going to take it seriously, okay?
Yeah, true.
I think it's pretty interesting
True,
how
guys.
Shank on the
True.
Young Turks is supposed to be
okay.
this like,
Wait, this is him reacting to himself, reacting to the. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry.
official sort of political commentator, and he just
Yeah.
comes off super immature and unhinged and just like rage.
So
aggro
true.
mode.
I don't know if y'all know this, but
And then you have Asmon, who's like not technically
Autistic.
a
Anyway.
political commentator like the Young
My
Turks
parents
try and
took
present
Tylenol.
himself as.
I
right?
talk about all kinds of stuff. I talk about video games. I talk about politics. I talk about social issues. I talk about news.
on the night
I'm
of
just
my
a guy on
conception,
the
yes.
internet. Like, I don't really take myself that seriously or anything like that. It's not that big of a deal to me. You know, like being labeled or acknowledged as a certain thing or anything else. It's just, it's not a big deal.
Or Shank tries to present himself as,
about
but
OnlyFans
he's
girls?
much more
Yeah.
level-headed and actually logical in the stuff that he's saying. Not to just like sit here glazing
Mm-hmm.
Asmon, but I think anyone looking at this objectively would come to a similar assessment. Shank's over there raging, sounding like a weirdo, and Asmon's just talking normally about this all. Anyways, back to the clip. Asmon moves on from the discussion about how certain violent protesters, or you could just say rioters, have surrounded and physically banged on vehicles, making the driver, of course,
they
fear
have.
for their safety.
Yes.
And in other cases, for example, here's what he gets at next, where we've seen like riots in LA, where federal agents are attacked by rioters who are throwing rocks at the cops, whether they're
They
in
do.
vehicles or not.
So
tons of
I view
videos.
throwing a rock at a person as deadly force. And so because a police officer is a person, I think that if you throw a rock at a police officer should be able to respond with deadly force by shooting you. That's my logic.
I would prefer they not, but especially if there's a lot of people, because people say, oh, throwing rocks, kids throw rocks. Yeah, and it's wrong. That's why you teach them not to, for one thing. And two, most of the rocks that you find in cities, I don't know if you've seen videos of Antifa members hammering away at concrete sidewalks for chunks of debris to throw at cops and counter-protesters and reporters. But it's out there. So imagine someone throwing a 3 to 5 pound chunk of concrete directly at your head. You're getting fucked up. If that makes contact, depending on who throws it, because most of them, let's face it, don't have a lot of upper body strength. That's why they travel in packs, because they're cowards. But still, throwing giant chunks of concrete can cause brain damage, can cause organ damage, like depending on where it hits you, fuck up your back, whatever. It's
That's my reasoning. And that's
as someone who used to be friends with a lot of these like types of people, looking back at my late teens, early 20s, I shudder at what I did in the name, or what I saw done and was in person for, in the name of peace. It's ridiculous. It's like that scene from that movie from like the 60s or 70s protest where the guy walks in and all of a sudden people are building bombs on account of peace. It's ridiculous.
also Florida's logic and Florida's
Especially
reasoning.
when no
That's
one's
exactly
struck
what
first.
Florida does. So if you're mad at me for saying this, that's totally okay. But you also have to understand that there is an entire state in our country that has the exact same viewpoint on this than I do. Don't try to act like I'm some extreme radical or some crazy person when there are states with millions of people in it that agree with this. And I think that most people
I hate how
agree
they
with.
misquote you so disingenuously.
Well, they have to. They have to. They have to misquote me. They have to misrepresent me. Because they can't argue against what I'm saying. So they have to misrepresent what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Turn it into something else and then argue against that.
That's why you'll see someone, you'll be speaking and you'll see them thinking inside their own head. And they'll be like, oh, and then you'll say a key word and they'll be like, oh my God, are you saying that you don't believe in women's rights or you don't believe in such and such rights? No, that's not what anyone's saying. What I said was, and then you'll say that, and then they'll keep arguing the same point because they don't have an argument.
That's the reason why.
But their audiences are so idiotic
This too
that they'll
at a
fall
very
right
fundamental
along
level.
because they're
Like if
just as
somebody threw a
brainwashed.
rock at Cenk Uygur, I would say that if you wanted to shoot that guy, go ahead.
Yep.
Like if somebody's trying to hit you in the head with a rock, I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, exactly. And this has no basis on what party the person on either side is. If it was a bunch of freaky conservatives doing the same shit, and they were doing some of the Antifa type tactics, and don't give me that Proud Boy shit. The Proud Boys have literally never initiated anything really. They really haven't. 95% of the time, the Proud Boys were reacting to Antifa striking first and sometimes second, third, and fourth. For anyone who was watching any of the videos during Trump's first presidency, you know this to be true. For those of you who disagree with me, you don't know what you're talking about. You haven't watched any of the videos.
Why are we trying to rationalize and justify violent, aggressive behavior from people that are trying to destroy property
Cut the clips
and
or remove the context?
actively trying to subvert the law?
That's what they do.
That's it. Nobody wants to have rocks thrown at them. Nobody wants to have anything like this happen to them.
No.
It's insane that we should expect police officers to be punching bags. It's unfair to them. It's entitled to the people who are angry. And it's also just the wrong thing to do.
Well, yeah, they're only fine with it because it's coming from their side. If
Yeah.
it was like people they disagree with, they would be outspoken against this stuff. But since it's their side, they're like totally fine.
And this is one thing that's driven me. Like, I will never consider myself a conservative, but this is why I don't relate to the left anymore. Is because they will nitpick everything that the people on the right say, or not even people on the right. They'll nitpick their own side. People who just aren't as far left as they are, like myself, and say that things are dog whistles, whistling past the graveyard and other such nonsense. But at the same time, they will literally make excuse for violence in Charlie Kirk's murder. Absolutely. If the right did anything that Antifa types do, then we would all be in an uproar. But because Antifa is the militant side of the mainstream, the people make excuses for it. And it's ridiculous. It's really tiresome.
Fine with it. Same thing we see on Twitch with Hasan, right? Like, they literally protect Hasan. And then people who do far less grievous things than Hasan has done, well, they get banned.
Yeah, Tectone getting banned for calling Frogan fat was like a super, super big mistake that they made. Like,
Yeah, it was dumb.
I think Twitch really, it's like, they have rules for that, and I think it's okay that it's like if you want to make it a rule that like you can't make fun of or like make fun of a person's appearance or anything like that, that's fine. But there's no real reason that that shouldn't be applied evenly.
It really shouldn't, because he called her fat, and they banned him for like a week or maybe 2 weeks. I can't remember. But people call this guy the Cockroach King all the time. And while it's probably true, I mean, if you've ever seen any video, I saw a video walkthrough of his place. It's freaking disgusting. But it's how the man lives, and it's how he chooses to live, even though he's rich. If we're talking about life choices, living in disgusting situations, that's a life choice. Or you choose to be you choose to not clean up, and therefore you choose to live that way. Same thing with Frogan. She chooses to be. Hold on. Do I still? Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find that picture.
Now, moving on from Cenk Uygur, we've got a little update about Hasan here, his
Chunky
nephew. He had posted, Hasan says Collargate won't have any impact on his mainstream media favorability.
Do you think MSM will change their views on you after this? I feel like you were doing good, making waves in MSM lately. No. No. If you notice, like, if you noticed a lot of the outlets that have like covered this or attempted to cover this,
I don't know why Hasan tries so hard to seek the approval of mainstream media when he's doing so well himself. I think they should be coming to him. Like, he's built a massive media empire. Like, he has a lot of YouTube channels that upload his content. He has TikToks that are very popular. His Twitter's very popular.
I completely agree
Like,
with that.
I find it to be almost, you know, kind of degrading that he keeps trying to seek approval from these small publications that I think reach a fraction of the people that he does. That's my opinion.
No, I completely agree with that.
Legitimacy? By seeking legitimacy from them, you remove legitimacy from yourself. By giving other people the ability to define your own legitimacy, you have now decided and told everybody, I am not worthy of being able to define my own legitimacy. I disagree with that. I think it's okay. I mean, if you want to like do interviews and stuff like that with mainstream media, I think it's totally fine. But, you know, I wouldn't try to seek their approval.
Without any sort of consideration for like defamation or whatsoever. It's been like Fox News, New York Post, shit like that.
Dang it.
And it's also so objectively untrue that it doesn't really matter, ultimately. I think it was Gutfeld that even covered it as well.
Yeah, it was.
The Hollywood Reporter covered the story, I know. And it's really funny because like they went to PETA, and PETA is like one of the most militant, like pro-animal rights organizations out there. And it's really funny because it's like PETA is one of the most militant animal rights organizations. Hollywood Reporter didn't even ask me for it, for you know, my take on it or anything like that, which you're supposed to do. That's like what journalism is supposed to do.
Yeah,
that's what journalists are supposed to do. And it's interesting. They went directly to PETA, and then PETA fucking PETA straight up was like, he says he doesn't use one, and we really hope that is the case. Instead of just being
That's
like,
the correct answer. Like that's the correct answer. They can't know that you used it. Nobody really knows for sure. I mean, a lot of people think they do.
Would they have
but like,
given that
why
much
would they
grace
go
with
out and
anybody
like
else?
definitively say
Probably
that
not.
you did something that they're not sure that you did? I mean, I think honestly, like that's PETA answered the correct way. I mean, obviously,
they
how
rarely
the fuck
do
can they
that.
know? And they said, yeah, we don't know whether
there
he
it
did
is.
it, but if somebody did it, it's bad. Like that's totally fair and completely reasonable.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what else would you expect?
like, yeah, he definitely
course.
uses one, we should kill him or whatever, which is what you would expect normally. But I think it's like low-key PETA's been an ally in the past as well.
I love how that
But
chatters.
you can know. No, I've never claimed to know, and people got mad at me even for saying that I never actually definitively said what happened because I don't know what happened. It's interesting that I've attracted a lot of people who have been unhappy from both sides that have already changed their mind. I'm like, well, this I've never like, and you might have noticed this, like I never even really soapboxed or moralized about this at all. Like I never talked about how horrible it is or how mean it is or how wrong it is. I never even said that. Like I'm not a huge like fucking animal rights activist. I'm just talking about the topic and looking at it. That's all.
Here we go. There.
Yeah, I never even did that.
Like this is mean. I think this is
It's like, you're doing so well in
How
the
it
mainstream
looks.
Posted
media
this on
lately.
X
As if that's like a
after
giant
he
dub,
called her
bro.
fat and got
If I
banned.
was like favorable in the
Yeah,
mainstream
people post
media,
stuff like
I
this
would
about
feel
Frank.
like, oh my gosh, dude, what am I doing wrong?
It's
Why
funny.
am I becoming a
but it's
corpo
mean.
sellout?
Oh.
Like, why are they attaching themselves to
For
me
those
like
of
that?
y'all
You know what I
curious, this is
mean?
what she actually
It
looks
would be a
Not much of a
very
difference,
undesirable thing. But let me know what you guys think about all that. Those are the updates. Yeah,
mean-
thanks for tuning in. See you in the comments here and in the next one. Have a great rest of your weekend.
I think that a lot of people do try to like lump me in with it in order to try to add a smokescreen for other issues. But fundamentally, it's just not something that it's not something that will really work, right? I mean, like having a clip of me doing something wrong or something like that, the only thing that that's going to do, best case scenario, what that's going to do is it's going to say that we were both wrong. Like that's not going to make somebody change their opinion, right?
No,
yeah, even XQC's talking about it. I'll watch the clip from him and see what he says. Here we go. He put down animals for less. Well, I mean, I think that really it's like a person like that, like a violent rapist or something like that, yeah, they're basically fucking animals. Like, sure, right?
Pretty much.
But like, I mean, this isn't a way I would treat people normally. I think it's better to give somebody something that they can do for work, right? That's more than anything. Tabs, yeah, never complain about me again, okay? Well, listen to this.
But Assman thinks that's a great idea, so he's like, "Oh yeah, freedom of speech, unless it's left wing."
This is, by the way, the most advanced form of buffoonery that I think that I've ever seen.
You said that earlier, but
this is buffoonery that I think is nobody does it better than this. Okay, this is a buffoonery masterclass.
How dare they protest our government? Let's take away all their rights.
So this guy looks like a leftist Joe Rogan, low-key. No, fucking Alex Jones, sorry.
Alex Jones?
Yeah. So it looks like.
Did you see what he said?
Do you remember whenever Alex Jones came over to the Young Turks, like they were doing something, and Alex Jones made Jink hold up a shirt that said like Bill Clinton is a rapist, and then Anna Kasparian, his co-host, told him like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here, you fat piece of shit!"
Yeah, no, that was freaking hilarious. I remember that. She's like, "Get out of here, you fat piece of
Fuck
shit."
you, get out of here. Yeah, video.
And this was right when like fat shaming was becoming like frowned upon. So she got a lot of shit for that. And especially since Alex Jones and Jank are about the same size.
It was quiet. Yeah, it was so fucking funny, man. And I'll turn it up a bit, okay? I'm sorry, you guys didn't
Let's
hear
take
it.
away all their rights.
So this guy looks like a leftist Joe Rogan, low-key. No, fucking Alex Jones, sorry. Alex Jones.
No, he really does. They
So it
were
looks
about
like-
the same size.
Leftist Alex Jones.
Alex Jones
And I don't know if his
lost a lot of
followers were
weight. I
like,
think
"What
he's
an
gotten buff.
idiot! We said freedom
think
of
he's still
speech,
working out with Joe
dumbass." Okay, or if they're like, "Yeah, we hate freedom of speech now. Now that we're in charge."
Nobody-
Yeah.
Freedom of the slaves.
I mean, that's what y'all
Are
did
13 people
during
watching
y'all's
that show?
time,
Who wouldn't like that kind of monstrously un-American piece of
jeez.
crap like that? Who doesn't believe in America at all?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't consume content like this. I can't imagine that AsmonGold, whatever his name is, I can't imagine that he is watching this show right now either.
Yeah, crazy how
People
that
are much
happens.
more likely to be watching his show than this fucking piece of shit. If you want to have this because you're on TV, because your shit hits the fucking mainstream television, you have more authority. People are more likely to watch AsmonGold, Jägermeister, Conspirator, whatever the fuck, than this shit fucking washed up dog shit. What are
Man.
these losers saying these days, man?
a
You
lot
have some
of
sort of
words.
authority because they're on air. But
They're not even on air.
That's crazy.
They're not even on mainstream. They're not even on broadcast television. That's the funny thing about it.
Defendant, I don't know what the take is. I'm not gonna say. I don't know what the
It's
take is.
insane.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah. And S-Man left Jones. Yeah, I guess so. And TYT isn't worth time of day. I mean, that's not even what it is. It's like public access TV. You know who used to be on public access TV?
Me.
Alex Jones did. I remember because I'm in Austin. And so, Jenkins criticize Asmo, all his washed up falling off. No, I don't need to insult him. I've always liked Cenk Uygur. I thought it was kind of funny to have him talking about me. I thought it was funny. And so I don't take it personally at all. But I did see this. And he was, again, the buffoonery level on this clip was really, it was impressive even for him. And that's saying a lot.
Everything SweetBaby Inc touches turns.
Okay, so that's that. We're gonna go straight into the very dark topic because I actually, and this is more the speed of things that I actually want to do on this channel. I'm almost done completely talking about anything Charlie Kirk related, unless there's some huge revelation. I'm pretty much done with Hasan Diddy Bin Laden Piker, at least as. And the thing was, I was about to do a deep dive on him after the Kansas Owens one was finished, which I still need to do. I was going to do it this past weekend, but bad times were had. But I think I'm going to hold off if I even do anything about Hasan Piker at all in the future. I mean, his pretty much daily crash outs might just... I might have a flicker here and there. But for the most part, I want to do gaming news, whether it's fun or fucked up, and just mostly mainstream stuff, but I really want to talk about stuff like SweetBaby, pretty much anything that Very Dark talks about, with a few other topics here and there. Like the thing with J.K. Rowling was pretty hilarious. But in the future, I'm trying to move towards something a bit lighter, or something so fucked up that I can quip on it pretty easily. But that being said, let's continue with SweetBaby CEO admits they're ruining games and plays victim again. Kim Belair lies and gets exposed.
To trash, and of course the people behind
She's
this
literally
company
the worst.
love to play the victim. It's the only way they
She's
really
Anita
get attention
Sarkeesian
at this
2.0.
point. And now Kim Belair finally admits SweetBaby Inc.'s real role in AAA gaming, while railing against critics, saying, "We did nothing wrong." I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, there is never going to be a time where I personally am going to sit here and give SweetBaby Inc. praise unless they come to their senses and say, "We're shuttering our studio," because they have never provided anything good to the space. They basically just insert their own propaganda into products. From what we understand, though, Kim Belair saying you guys are completely wrong, and the lie detector has determined that's a lie. Though in a surprisingly candid new interview, the CEO, Kim Belair, has admitted her company played a much deeper role in crafting the narratives of major AAA video games than previously acknowledged, while also dismissing critics as being against progress. The interview, analyzed by Writing Raven and Master of the TDS, published in an article by Raven, offered a rare, unfiltered look at how SB.
Well, that's because progress is actually progressive, and what they do is quite regressive.
Operates within the gaming industry. What Belair revealed has sparked renewed debate about the studio's influence, transparency, and ideology. These people do not actually care about the video game industry. They don't care about video games. They simply care about lining their own pockets, which is why I do not have any real respect for them. These people do not actually want to have to explain themselves to their critics in a meaningful way. They don't want to have a discussion. They simply want to yell into the void and have individuals within the mainstream industry come running to defend them and saying, these poor, poor innocents, those toxic gamers, are attacking them yet again. So for years, SBI has maintained that it functions as a narrative consultancy group, a company that advises studios on inclusive storytelling. But in the late August 2025 discussion, Belair described her team's direct creative involvement in games like Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2 as something that goes far beyond simple narrative consultation. According to her, her staff worked on the narrative beats and character work for both projects, including key storylines involving Kraven and Harry Osborn. It says, though, that admission alone contradicts SweetBaby's long-held claim that it only provides consultation, not hands-on development. And I think that this is so hilarious because they are the ones who claimed that we were making it up. They were the ones who claimed that we were the liars, even though we were the ones who were right all along. As Writing Raven noted in her coverage, Belair's statements quietly confirmed what many gamers had suspected all along, that SBI is not merely offering input from the sidelines, it's shaping the creative heart of modern AAA games, and we've known this. That's why so many of us dislike SweetBaby Inc, because they are not just, I don't know, proofreading and giving a little bit of feedback and telling the studios their opinions of the product. No, they are altering it in the writer's room. So when pressed about backlash from players and journalists, Belair adopted a defensive tone. Now, I get that they have faced a lot of backlash, and when you are behind a...
Like, I'm not going to lie, and this isn't hyperbole when I say this, they're literally doing, like, Cartman's version of Kathleen Kennedy from South Park. That's literally what they're in there doing. And it's, again, when you make anything as far as media goes, the things that get the most funding need to make the most in return. To do that, you need the biggest audience possible. Which means you're trying to appeal to general audiences. And general audiences, yes, we're moving further and further left every day. But we're not quite to the point where these people want it to be yet. Now they are forming society with what they're doing, but they're pushing it much further and faster these days. And with things like the internet, you know how like incels will get together and form all these hate groups online? That's what they do too. Which is funny, considering a lot of them are basically incels, or what I like to call femcells.
Product that you feel passionate about, you want to defend it, and you think that you can do no wrong. But at the same time, when you have millions of people criticizing you and your work, you think that by now they would have tried to understand where we are coming from, but they don't. They just want to say that they are the victims and that we are toxic. She said there are thousands of videos about us, but of those people, no one has written to us to say, hey, can I just ask a couple of questions about how this works? And this is such a massive lie. Every single video almost that I have seen on them from people like Smash JT, Hypnotic, even myself have mentioned at some point throughout those several minutes, oh, hey, I'd love to have a discussion with them. Or, oh, hey, they could actually try to reach out to people. Or, oh, hey, they could prove us wrong. And that's never the case. It says, though, that this claim doesn't hold up to scrutiny. Multiple creators, including Smash JT, have publicly documented attempts to contact SweetBaby Inc that were ignored. And if they truly had such good evidence against the claims that content creators are making, they could just post that on social media. They could prove that we are wrong, but they never do. I'll say it here, like I say it a lot now. If they want to have a discussion, I'd be more than happy to do so, but that's not going to happen. This was highlighted during the Gothic Therapy live stream, with Raven calling it a rewriting of public record. The inconsistency reinforced a growing perception that SweetBaby Inc doesn't want engagement, it wants compliance. And this is the major issue that they would have, because we are not the access media. We are not going to sit here and allow them to spew lies. We are going to bring facts. We are going to bring evidence. We are going to question the claims that they're making, and they don't want that. They want us to just ultimately shut up and consume product. And Kim Belair is somebody who's very upset with the fact that she cannot go back to the good old days where she could lurk in the shadows and allow SweetBaby Inc to operate in the shadows, because every single time they are affiliated with...
And you have to be aware, these are people who, the second that they were exposed that they existed, and that a lot of the games where, especially sequels to games, that were received very well. You've seen it with Spider-Man 2. You've seen it with Ghost of Yote. You've seen it with, the most recent Ratchet and Clank, where they had a the female version of Ratchet and Clank in the game. I can't remember what their names are off the top of my head. It's been a while since I played it, but yeah, like all these games that were heavy on some of this indoctrination, and the gameplay was improved, and the graphical fidelity and all that was improved, but the story was not even close, and that's why it didn't sell nearly as well. You saw some, but not a lot of it in God of War Ragnarok, and some, but not a lot of it in hell, I need another cup of coffee, but pretty much everywhere you've seen it, this lady right here was probably behind it.
With the game now, we call it out, gamers boycott it, and these games do not make the money that the studios initially anticipated. Belair went on to describe the creative process as a battlefield, encouraging developers to fight for their baby, her phrase for personal ideas, even when they conflict with the game's established direction. For critics, that remark perfectly encapsulated the issue. SBI consultants aren't merely assisting, they're embedding their personal and ideological perspectives into someone else's project. And later in the discussion, she offered a sweeping defense of her company's work. When people fight against wokeness, what they are really doing is fighting against progressiveness, and in a way fighting against themselves, which is just so hilarious. I say this all the time. People can make whatever stories they want. If you want to make a game that I personally do not like and I disagree with that is 100% okay. The SweetBaby Incs can exist, the Black Girl Gamers can exist, and games like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Concord, Flintlock the Siege of Dawn, the list goes on and on. It is 100% okay for you to want to make those products the same way that it is perfectly fine for people to want to boycott them. Sometimes people do not want change. And in the video game industry, when it comes to our entertainment, the change that has been made has not been profitable, and companies should first and foremost want to make money, but people do not want propaganda. Video games should not be used as a vessel for propaganda for you to push your political beliefs, but that happens time and time and time again with these people. And the statement, equal parts defiant and dismissive, quickly made its way around social media, further fueling debate about the ideological slant of Belair and SBI. We did nothing wrong, she insisted. We did our jobs the best we could. Yeah, the job that you have that tears apart this industry. You don't care about making the gaming space better. You don't care about making stories and products better. You care about them pushing the narratives that you personally agree with. That's why people don't like you. What Belair didn't mention may be just as telling. She never once acknowledged the incident that sparked the backlash against her.
Look, and if these people actually had a passion for these things that they're trying to change, if they were trying to add black characters, if they were trying to add any good characters, any characters that aren't like, they had a whole team based off woke terminology. Like I think there was a superhero called Safe Space and a couple others. You know what I'm saying? Down that line. And it's like Michelle Rodriguez said a long time ago. Stop changing the race, and this goes in any direction. I don't care if they're black, white, Asian, and any race, Middle Eastern, whatever. I don't care, as long as they're a good character and they fit within the realm of the world that's been created. Like Kamala Khan started off as a very good character, and I love that the actress that plays her has such a passion for the character, and I think they've even let her write a comic for some reason. But I hate that the character has had such a negative light shown on it in recent events. I hate that they made that character an X-Men instead of an Inhuman, because for those of you that don't know, the Inhumans were pushed forth a lot more. They changed a couple of the main mutants into Inhumans. Like I think Quicksilver went from being a mutant to an Inhuman and became a lot faster in the comics because they were and this is really dumb that they did this, but Marvel Comics was subduing a lot of the mutant characters. They even did the No More Mutants event when Disney bought most of Marvel. They subdued everyone who was owned by Fox for the most part. The only character that didn't suffer was the one owned by Sony, Spider-Man. And then I think they still did some stuff with Hulk because he was technically still part of the MCU. But stuff like this is horrible. And the Inhumans were a very poor, pale replacement for mutants and the X-Men especially. But these are all money moves. And they're all really dumb money moves. And that was the big thing that they were doing right before all this... the woke stuff really got in full effect, but it's just it's maddening. And Kamala Khan, I really do think that if she hadn't been created during that time, my point is why I started talking about that. I really do think she would have been a mutant or an X-Man in the first place. She just had the misfortune of being created during a time where Inhumans were the focus, not X-Men and mutants. So on that, I'm kind of okay with it, kind of. But I don't like that they changed her power set to where, one, she's not a mutant if she gets her powers from the damn bracelets, unless they activate a mutant genetic something or something. But we'll see. But anyway, tangent over.
Company, the conduct of former employee Chris Kindred, whose inflammatory social media posts and attempts to get Cabrutus kicked off Steam brought SweetBaby Inc into the public spotlight by...
Pretty sure Cabrutus is the guy that highlighted that all this SweetBaby stuff was going on in the first place. Yeah, they tried to have him banned. They doxed him, all kinds of stuff. It's ridiculous. He didn't call for any of this against them. He only wanted people to know they existed. And then Gamergate 2 launched when Endymion joined the party.
Leaving this out, Belair presented her company as a misunderstood victim rather than a participant in controversy, and I would love to get Kim Belair sitting down in a multi-hour stream, going down the SweetBaby Inc timeline, giving all of the information at once. I don't care if it's 5 hours or 6 hours long, incident by incident by incident, and then getting her opinion on each and every one. But we know that that is not going to happen because, again, I'm not the access media, so she cannot sit here and lie. I would call
that they won't do that. And this is one thing, for the most part, if you're doing an interview or any kind of journalism, one, you should know something about what you're doing in the first place. You should know enough to question people properly. If not, then you're going to lean heavily biased. It's going to be a fluff piece. The only time people do any kind of real research, and they don't even do a lot of research for that, is for hit pieces. And even that, there's a lot of stuff taken out of context. Nobody does their due diligence in journalism anymore. My God, I wish I had gone to school for this shit. I had a lot of friends who did it. I should have done it. Because imagine me if I had taken some debate classes, maybe a few politics classes, and an actual journalism, get a journalism degree. I'd be pretty much unstoppable.
Call her out on her false statement.
And then, maybe not done so many stupid things to cause all the head injuries and done a few narcotics in the early 2000s. In the early 2000s.
And that is why she doesn't want to have a discussion. And of course, why she doesn't want to present the truth in any of these interviews or panels or discussions that she's having, because she knows that she doesn't have a good defense for 95% of the controversies that SweetBaby Inc has been a part of. So it's definitely interesting that she's finally admitting SBI's real role in the AAA gaming industry while railing against critics, when for years now she said that we're liars and we're just bigots. And of course she is still playing the victim here, but her statements prove what we've known all along, that we were right all along. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel.
Not quite the
and
dunk
if you
I was
didn't, give it
hoping
a
for.
dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the
All right.
Guys, over here.
So we're going to go over here to Rev, giving us a little bit more on the Hasan Piker Collargate situation. We're going to try to burn through this a little bit. I will comment, but for the most part, I just want people to see this, because this is probably the last thing I'm going to say on Hasan Piker for a very long time, unless something just too hilarious or too ridiculous pops up. That being said, take it, Rev.
So I wish I could say I'm shocked, no pun intended, but here we are at day 7 of what's been described as Collargate, a situation where Hasan Piker was caught live on stream, to the eyes of many, shocking his dog with a electric collar. And this has created a whole...
I know I've probably said it before, but Yeet is basically Twitter or X's shit. It's basically the thing that posts all the drama. It's the drama channel, especially with streaming centered drama specifically, like any streamers or anything happening on X or anything like that. That's what Yeet focuses on. So it's basically that.
Gigantic level of backlash, and the public narrative has been pretty clear. Even 3 days ago on polls like this, where people were asked, did Hasan use a shock collar? 91% of people out of 35,000 votes said yes, and another 6% said they were still uncertain. But things keep getting worse and worse, and people are kind of tired of seeing this, because Hasan keeps talking, more clips resurface, and people feel bad for his dog Kaya.
And that's his biggest mistake. if he would just admit that he did it, if he would just admit it, 90% of this would go away. The only people who would still talk about it, I don't even think Rev would talk about it anymore. The only people who would still talk about it would be Tectone, Nux, and a couple people who, and the only reason that they do it and that I am cool with them doing it, my God, Sneeko, way to stay relevant, buddy. The only reason I give them grace when it comes to why they're doing this, because Hasan and his orbiters specifically have tried to ruin the lives of 3 people. That's Tectone, that's Nux, and that's Ethan from H3H3. And none have suffered more than Ethan from H3H3. Half of his audience basically turned on him. I mean, a lot of the people kind of just jumped on when him and Hasan teamed up for that little short-lived podcast that they had together. But to understand completely, Ethan and Hasan agree on pretty much everything except for that October 7th was bad. I'm not going to go into what October 7th is. Google it. But that's the only thing they disagree on. Because Ethan, I know his wife is Israeli. She was born in Israel. Ethan is Jewish. I don't know if he's Israeli. I don't think he is. But they're both pro-Palestine. They're not pro-Hamas, like Hasan Diddy Bin Laden Piker, the communist with a Gucci bag himself. But they are pro-Palestine, which is why they're celebrating, and all of the From the River to the Sea people are finding excuses not to celebrate.
A lot of people want something done. And of course, Hasan has spread many lies. Let me pull up my notes here. This has been the series of events, his explanations for what happened. He first said Kaya's paw got clipped. Then he said he was reaching for his Zins.
I recognize that font.
Allegedly reaching for the remote. Then he tried to say there's no collar, which was ridiculous. Then he said, wait a second, it's actually a vibration collar. And then he tried to say, well, shock collars are good, so even if I did use one, it's not a big deal. Then he said, in response to many viral clips of him doing many things that people think are concerning towards dogs, he said all of those clips are out of context. Then he said only crazy people care, and all the YouTubers talking about him, they're all just mentally ill. Then he even said this is all Zionist propaganda. And now we get to the most recent one that's going to lead us into the rest of this video. He tried to say when you reach to his side many different times over the years, and then his dog would react when he pressed a button, that was simply his gate opener. Well, unfortunately for him, he got exposed again. You've already seen the collar really caught in 4K. How about the remote?
I'm gonna put the Y shot. Boom.
Yes, we can. Where's the camera, huh?
No.
So here's a close-up of this remote on his desk. Mind you, this remote is in the same exact position he was constantly...
I know there's a little bit of overlap to yesterday's show. I apologize for that. But, like I said, I really love Rev's content. Please go subscribe to him, subscribe to his wife. I haven't watched his wife's channel yet, but I don't know. I've seen them together on stuff, and they're kind of sweet.
Reaching for in all the clips where people believe he shocked his dog. And of course, there's even more. It matches the model that people were suspecting. So now again, we can match the collar and the remote to what's been allegedly in his possession during these clips. And he really just got caught. It's very odd that he felt this need to push the remote away when he realized he was in the frame. And that face he made was just chef's kiss. Caught in 4K. Pretty hilarious stuff. I don't know how his orbiters are going to defend this. I know they're going to. I've already heard some crazy stuff. But let's see some reactions from other content creators who have been talking about the situation and always had a very strong feeling that, well, he was guilty of what he's being accused of.
So, yes, somehow it's happened again. Another plane has hit the tower.
I'm gonna put the Y shot. Boom.
Yeah.
Yes, again.
Boom.
Hi, Jack.
No.
Me personally, I would have grabbed the donut box.
Why
and
does he
used it
move
to
this
move it
one
out the way,
specific thing out of the
but-
frame? It's clearly the ET300 remote that he is literally holding up on his stream. He's hiding it in plain sight. Oh God.
Now he does nothing but move it out of frame.
Hi, Jack.
Whoops.
He's such a liar. Wow.
It really is.
What a Weasley little
4K,
liar.
they say. You know the kids say 4K, they say. 18K, 16K, they say.
I already let her do whatever she wants now.
If anyone can tell me what's wrong with Ethan, like he's been doing this little cough thing. I hope he's okay. I used to be a big H3 fan back in the day, and he was really, really funny. And then the whole thing with Jordan Peterson happened, and he's been struggling ever since. He fell in with Hasan and them, and then him and Hasan had the one disagreement, and then all of his friends turned against him because, like, God, the iDubbbz thing was ridiculous. I'm gonna play the content nuke. Probably. I'm trying to go out of town this weekend, but if I don't get to, like, if I don't get the Monday off as well, then I'll react to the content nuke that Ethan did. It's like an hour and a half long, so it's gonna be a long video. But I really want to play it because it's one, I haven't watched it all the way through. I've seen most of it, but it'll be nice.
See, this is how it works, okay? She expands on the readily available confines.
Some guy in chat. It's so over.
Now, we have to understand as well, during this entire Collargate situation, he has had so many sycophants and clout chasers and other streamers come to his defense, basically accepting whatever this guy is going to say. They will defend him no matter what, including very large streamers who are making themselves look incredibly stupid, naive, and quite frankly like liars as they try to defend Hasan. Now, the latest one to do this same act is Cutie Cinderella, another popular streamer, and she's kind of in that scene with Hasan Piker. And there was a clip of her where she did her best to, I guess, defend Hasan. But unfortunately, this clip has blown up in all of their faces.
No, there's no shock. Like, the electric prongs are taken out of it.
But here's my thing, right?
Like, it's only a vibrate. Like, there's a setting for vibrate and there's a setting for shock.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So there's only since the prongs are in it only vibrates. So, what I have to say, I'm at his house, I looked at the collar. The collar is taped off where I think there would be prongs.
Yeah.
There's no zap. There's only a vibrate function.
Well, at least she tried. Again, another shameless defense of Hasan in the situation.
Like who does this? Like, one, I don't know what this guy's doing. Like, why he's just making the world's longest whatever this is. But why is she holding up, like, it's just like, look at the graph. Look at this. I made it myself. Look at this graph. Like, anyone who's just like, look, I want to take a moment out of this just hangout session that we're doing. I want to talk to you about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or anything, or Hasan Piker, or I want to talk to you about so-and-so rights. Like, nobody cares. What are we doing?
And in this case, she tried to defend him, but she just made things worse for everyone involved with this clip, and also Hasan as well, because she says in this clip that it is an electric collar. It does have a shock function, but the prongs were removed. And, well, that directly contradicts everything Hasan is.
Why would Hasan buy a shock collar and then remove or have removed the prongs instead of just buying a collar that doesn't do the thing? The man's rich. His house is $3 million. At least. I don't understand this. Like, are you trying to tell me that a man is so thrifty that he realized that the shock collar he bought was bad and took out the prongs, or paid to have the prongs taken out? Come on.
Has been saying, he said clearly on stream, he really wanted to make this impression. This is not an electric collar. It is simply a vibrating collar. Despite many clips showing Kaya yelping when he reaches for a button and presses it, or him talking about owning shock collars, or having shock collars on leashes that he was carrying around. Many different examples, but this directly contradicts everything he is saying. It really makes no sense, and it makes even less sense when you realize what's being said here, right? So are you trying to convince us that Hasan bought the shock collar and taped it for vibration, rather than just buy a vibration collar? Why would Hasan, a millionaire who very clearly cares about his dog, like the image he portrays as a dog owner is, I think, the more accurate way. He cares a lot about how he is perceived. Why would he have the wrong collar on all these years? Why wouldn't he just get a vibrating collar if that's what he wanted, instead of getting an electric charged one and then remove the prongs and crudely wrap duct tape around it, as if that's not going to get riddled with hair over the years from the dog? But it's all just very, very strange. But down here you see another comment. These LA streamers are just shameless liars. And that is what they are. This sort of clique, they will do anything to defend one another, no matter how stupid they look, no matter how much they have to lie, if it keeps getting them collabs and keeps earning them money. And this is something that AsmonGold talked about in this clip.
It's crazy that this just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
And I find it to be, honestly, this is extremely vindicating for me. It's very funny because a lot of people that are like this, that are in that orbit, like to virtue signal about how bad I am, right? And, oh, I say all these horrible things, etc. Then they're tripping over themselves to defend something that's obviously bad. And I think it really just goes to show, right? I mean, it really does go to show, doesn't it? What are the odds of that? Did you see the games? Which games? I don't know what you mean by that. Who subverted? Yes, they're like. And the thing is that people that lie to you, you can't trust them. You can't trust them. It sounds like it's a stupid thing to say, but it's not. Because a lot of people think that, oh, they only did it this one time. No, you only noticed it this one time. And the rest of the times they were doing it, you didn't even know it was happening. And so whenever I see people lying and making up bullshit like this, I think it's fucking funny because it's what I've always assumed, right? You get tired of being right? I mean, I'm wrong sometimes, but I've been right about a lot of stuff, man. I really have.
Yeah, what he's describing here is something.
And see, that's fine. And that's one thing I do respect about Asmon. When he finds out that he's wrong about something, he admits it. And that's all you can hope for. And I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, but from what I have watched, he doesn't like to jump into things without, like, half-cocked to where he doesn't really know what he's talking about. He usually tries to make sure that he knows what's going on before he comments, or at least has all the information that's available at the time. So
something people consider the sort of Los Angeles scene of streamers, and Tectone had this to say: a massive takeaway from the Hasan torturer drama is streamers like XQC, Trainwrecks, myself, and AsmonGold, who have been saying now for years how fake the LA streaming scene is, are proven beyond correct. They will defend or lie about anything if it means securing a relationship with another content creator for potential growth. The streamers who appear brand safe and family friendly are normally just soulless, brainless streamers who will omit their true feelings to get another bag or be approved for another collab. And those who speak their mind and speak out against the real issues are considered delusional and haters.
I mean, I am pretty
Yes, I think that is something anybody who's even had a taste of what it's like to be in the content creation scene. I'm not going out in LA and doing stuff like this, but it seems very obvious from the outside that they all defend each other. We've seen it over the last week. How many large streamers from LA in particular have come out and defended Hasan, no matter how dumb they look in the process? But there's another part of this I want to give an update on. So this is Valkyrie. This is one of the people who also defended Hasan. The other day, there was a clip released of her basically saying, "How dare you criticize Hasan? That clip looks bad, but did you know we're going through a literal genocide right now? There's a literal genocide going on in Gaza," which, of course, that war just ended.
Which is a genius take that she says that the day before the genocide was never really happening ended. But so after she said that, I went on her page and said, it was a good hair day. And I said, how dare you get your hair done when there's literally a genocide in Gaza? It's one of my favorite things. I do love to troll on X. And these people who say stupid shit like that, like, how can you care about this thing that I don't agree with when there's literally a genocide in Gaza? Trying to blast people for being able to have more than one thought on two separate topics at the exact same time. But let's continue. I'm going to find another one that I did. Hold on. Oh,
so I guess that.
So, all right. So Tectone, major Hasan hater, and Hasan has definitely earned it from Tectone specifically. But he said, guys, Hasan may be a massive piece of shit who's attended a Diddy party, went to the brothel where at least one minor threatened to kill. Went to a brothel with at least one minor in attendance. He didn't take a minor. The minor was allegedly there. Threatened to kill a senator, doxed a viewer live, multiple counts of falsely accusing other creators of crimes, including horrible crimes like killing their own parents, and so on and so forth. Can't even bench 315. That's an inside joke between Hasan saying if you can't say anything, if you can't bench, you can't say anything to me or debate me if you can't bench 315. But he's pro-Palestine, so it's okay. To which I said, how can you list all the things Hasan did while there was literally a genocide happening when there's literally a genocide happening? Because I don't care. Because it's fun for me. I'm going to continue. Let's go.
Excuse is not really working anymore. But to go further, AsmonGold apparently messaged her and gave her advice, saying basically run it back. Okay, just clearly he said something along the lines of that wasn't the best response, and she came out apologizing, but also apologizing to her community that she talked with AsmonGold.
Why would you tell anyone that you did that in the first place?
Like, she basically apologized.
Like one, they didn't know that you talked to him. So you're throwing yourself onto the fire for no reason, and then you're throwing AsmonGold on there with you. Why? These people are so brain rotted, man. Oh my God. Continue.
Or messaging me, right? That's pretty much what it was. And I think that honestly, the biggest mistake that she made is that she didn't message me twice. I do. Because she should have messaged me and asked if she should have told the community that she messaged me. And if she had done that, I'd have told her no.
Yeah.
I would have. I think this is an own goal for her. It definitely is. And so anyway, and the thing is that, listen, her community, everybody, see, like, I don't view streaming, like, I'm friendly with people in streaming, but I don't confuse myself and delude myself into thinking that a lot of people will not, obviously, I would never want and expect a person to, like, you know, put their career at risk or to do something that would be bad for their community just for my ego or to make me look good, right? And so, like, I don't take this personally. I don't get upset about this. It doesn't bother me. I'm not mad about it, etc. And so that's really what Tectone predicted. You would have said something like this. Well, I don't know if he did or not. I'd have to go back and look. I can look at it after this. But yeah, I'm not mad about this. I don't really care. I think that it's funny, if you want me to be honest.
And that's the best
not
way
in
to
a
take
way that I'm laughing at her misfortune, but in a way that it's just like, man, what a ridiculous situation, isn't it?
I don't know, man. This whole situation is just an absolute mess. We're seeing a lot of masks being lifted, and it's not surprising the lengths some of these content creators are willing to go to secure the bag, to keep their collaborations in line. And yeah, part 7? Really on part 7? And of course people will say I'm milking this. I'm not milking this. This is a relevant topic to my channel.
It really is, and stuff keeps happening. Like, he keeps, if like I said, if Hasan and his people would stop talking about it, then other people would stop talking about it. Again, you'd have maybe AsmonGold, just because Hasan always brought him up when he was out taking care of his dad for however long he was gone, like a month or two. And just brings him up every day, even if AsmonGold doesn't even mention him. And so Asmon might, Tectone might when he starts streaming again, but he's still making posts almost on a daily on X. And then Nux, of course, will always talk about them because they have the long beef history there. But everyone else will stop talking about it. Rev will probably stop talking about it. As long if Hasan and his people would stop trying to cover for the very obvious fact that this thing exists. And I realize this is a ridiculous story, and I'm probably going to stop covering it because I'm bored. I'm bored, and I don't want to do it anymore. Unless something hilarious happens, in which case I'll cover it just maybe once.
Relevant people, all involved, big streamers, talking about this situation that we normally cover. It's just every day you wake up and there's just an endless line. And I am omitting a lot of things. If it's not super important, I'm leaving it out because it's kind of overwhelming at this point how much stuff is happening. And maybe there won't be any more tomorrow. I doubt it. I have zero confidence that there's not going to be another full buffet of clips and tweets relevant to the situation that can be used to farm content. It's just the way it is. But for now, that's going to do for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
All right. So go and check out Rev, go and check out Vera Dark, and go and check out shit. I forgot who the first video I did was. It's okay. I'm not here. So anyway, here Nux posted. This is Nux Taku, who I was talking about earlier, or Nuxanor, whatever you want to call him. Literally Hitler, Donald Trump. He's saying that ironically. Frees the hostages and ends Gaza war. Hamas gets exposed for executing hundreds of Gazan civilians in the last 48 hours. Hasan Piker gets exposed for relentless dog torture. Terrible week for Free Palestine crowd. Jesus. That's definitely a way to put it, Nux. What's going on? We need to leave these losers alone in 2025. What did Charlie do? I think is that, Ludwig or whatever? Is that who that is? I understand that because that's either Valkyrie or Pokemon. They look exactly the same to me. I'm sorry. And then, yes, Hasan Diddy Bin Laden Piker, the communist with the Gucci bag. We need to leave him alone this year. But what did Moist Critical do? Have an opinion for once? Like, he's the most milquetoast fence sitter on the internet. Like, he's just a decent, relatable guy. What has he done? Someone please look. I'm gonna save that for later. And what the fuck is that? Look, my thoughts on tattoos on someone's face. If you can find a decent person, and the septum ring is enough for me to know that this person is a no. But if that's what you want, by all means do it. You have the freedom to do any of that. But just make sure you know, if you have no skills or talents, you won't be able to find a job. You'll have to do warehouse work. You'll have to work in the stock room somewhere, if you can even get that, depending on what state you're on. But just know, and this is one thing that drives me crazy, especially about white people. Like, 10 or 15 years ago, look, the most controversial thing, the thing that lost me the most friends ever, isn't all this political talk. It was me saying that if you get a tattoo of a spider on your neck or face and try to go work at a daycare and you don't get the job, that's on you. That was a choice that you made. And you know, freedom of expression or whatever, that's not in the Constitution. They can say no to you because that's a choice that you made. And then I swear this person said, "Oh, you think it's a choice, like being gay is a choice?" I'm like, I literally never said that. And these people are so fucking disingenuous. And these are the same people I know who like are currently posting about, you know, gleeful conversations about Charlie Kirk dying. The people who I know personally, not in general, but no, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I do not understand people. There was one more thing I saw that I thought, ew. Oh, I thought that was, ew. Okay, yeah, not looking at that. That's horrifying. Is it just me, or does Ellen or Elliot Page? I'll call her Elliot because that's legally what his name is. I'll respect. And look, I don't disrespect the pronouns. The only time I do it is if you lose your shit when I misgender you, if I'm so used to seeing you as another gender. Anyway, so that's it for today. I may get on tonight and stream another hour of Outlast. I'm going to try to. I might have to stay at work a little late. I got a couple things I got to get done. But other than that, I will definitely be on tomorrow morning for this show. And then eventually, after this campaign, again, just throwing it out there, I am going to start streaming the D&D campaign. I will probably have that just on Twitch and YouTube. And I might put it on Kick. And then again, follow me on Rumble so I can start streaming over there too. I will only be doing the morning show and any comedy bits that I do in the future on Rumble. That's all that's going on that channel, but it's not going to be exclusive to that unless I ever become big enough to get a deal with them. But yeah, that's all for today. Planning, again, if I don't go out of town, on doing the Ethan Klein content nuke on Hasan Piker. And yeah, that's all I got.